Waiting for my guest to arrive. I have a few minutes here. I just did the typical looking at my watch thing to indicate that I am, waiting on someone. But if you look, I don't have a watch on. I don't know. Isn't that weird how we have that in our subconscious, that you want to make someone know that you're waiting on you. You pull up your wrist and you go like this, and you go, look at that. But does that really work anymore? I mean, do kids even know what watches are anymore? I mean, because even adults, people my age, we don't use watches anymore. But it doesn't evolve though. You see people, they want to let you know that they're running out of time. They'll go like that when they actually really be going. I guess that just takes too much time. But it's funny how we develop these kind of memories of how to do things, with the watch thing. And even when you take a picture with your phone, you turn on your phone, take a picture, and here's a sound it makes when you do it. Of course, I have it on silent. Let me turn it back on and do it again. I had it on silent because I'm a professional. I didn't want it on during the podcast. But here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna take a picture. Take a picture. Listen up. You hear that? That sound is 100% unnecessary when that picture's being taken because that is a digital computer in your hand. It's just, snapping the image. But that sound is actually the sound that the shutters used to make on old cameras when you took pictures, and we got so accustomed to it. We all got accustomed to that sound that the developer of these smartphones knew that if we didn't have some kind of sound indicating that the picture was taken, we would not be happy. But why don't we change that? Why don't we change it? Instead of keeping old people like myself comfortable, why don't we force us to adjust to something new? I mean, in all honesty, you don't even need a sound. You simply, okay, it's done. But we're done. I need my clicker. I need my clicker. And we need to change that. And clicker. The other day, I caught my kids talking about turn signals, and they said turn on your clicker. And I'm like, oh, no, no. And I know a lot of people use the clicker term, but that makes me uncomfortable. I like turn signal. That's what it is, because a turn signal is specifically what that is. A clicker could be anything. I mean, you use clicker for your remote control. So, if I'm driving and, I'm doing a driving test and the driver's instructor says, turn on your clicker, I'm going to pull out on a remote and start trying to change the channel. And that's not what they mean. So I just I don't like the dumbing of the English language. It is, to me, it just seems kind of spoon feeding everybody. Like I won't write donuts Donuts. It's not a donut. It's a donut. Do not spell it that way because that's stupid. I'm sorry. Doughnut. That's how you spell donut. That's one of the reasons I still eat at Krispy Kreme over other places because they use the proper spelling of it. I don't do donuts. Donuts that drives me nuts. Drives me donuts. Well, things are there like that out there. There's a lot of it out there. Drive through. We all accept THRU now. Thruh, through. It's just man, this is so much. That's the funny thing about the English language is it's ever evolving, and it's not evolving for the better. Webster. They're the ones that manage the main dictionary. I know there's other ones out there, but the Webster one, instead of trying to reinforce the proper way to speak English, we adjust and we evolve and start including things that people are doing wrong. If we as a entire population continue to mispronounce something, eventually Webster's gonna go, ah, crap. Well, can't do anything about it. Put it in there. That's how everyone's saying it now, so let's put it. I remember when they used to say, we're gonna put you on hold, we'll be back in a moment. Then people start saying momentarily because they thought that was sounded better, but it's wrong. The momentarily means they'll come back. Hey, I'm back. Oh, I'm gone. That's momentarily. But because so many people use that way, it's now changed to mean in a moment. And I just don't like that. But speaking of which, someone who is going to be here momentarily is our guest today, Lilyan Liu. She was my co-actor in the film Fook You, and she played my daughter. Well, she's my guest today, and I'm going to bring her on right now. I'm going to introduce her to you. Those of you might know her, but we'll get to know a little more about her. So here she comes. Okay, so we have Lillian Liu here with us. As I told some of you, she was my co-star in a little short film called Phuc You. That's Vietnamese for happy love. It's a very awkward title when I have to tell people about it. When people ask me, "So what's this little film you did?" I'm like, "It's a fuck you." And that's what I usually say. And like, what? What? No, 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 no. It's a Vietnamese for happy love. But Lillian, say hi to everyone.
Hello, hi, my name is Lilyan. As we said, I was his co-star for Folk You. And yeah, on top of that, it's kind of like a double entendre. So like to American people or anyone who doesn't speak Vietnamese, it sounds like, the cuss word. But in Vietnamese, it's actually very like a sweet meaning. So I think that was a really cool detail that the director made.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They
I'm
never
so happy to be here.
Yeah, they never really explain it in the short, so it's one of those
Yeah.
tell people afterwards and stuff. So, but bringing that up, there will be a lot of people who's watching this episode who has seen the short film, but then there are going to be quite a few that haven't seen it. So, I'm going to gear everyone up with this. So this was a short film that we did in what year was that? 2023.
23.
Okay, and
Yeah.
it was for a UCA student named Bailey Vo, an incredible filmmaker. She's got great visions and she has some really wonderful stuff out there. But she was doing this short film about a American-born Vietnamese teenager dealing with being torn between American culture versus her traditional culture and dealing with between her parents and her friends and stuff. And Lillian here got to play the lead character of Lin Lee. And tell me about how you came about even knowing about this project.
Yeah, I love telling the story because it's very organic how it happened. So I was bored one summer. I believe it was my sophomore year of college, and I was taking one class at the time, and I was bored. And since I was little, I've always thought of the idea of like, oh, I want to be a doctor, but I think it would be really cool to see myself like just in a film one day. But I wasn't actively looking at this point in my life for films or like to act at all. So I was just scrolling on Instagram as any teenager does, and I scrolled upon one of Bailey, the director's, Instagram reels, and it was a silly like TikTok trend about like who your spouse would be in the future, and people were kind of like bullying her in the comments, and I saw that she was a Vietnamese girl, and I was like, well, I have to help my fellow Vietnamese people. So I'm like, why are people bullying her? And so I went on her Instagram and I was like, okay, this girl is really creative and very cool. And then I stumbled upon a casting call that she had for her own film. And I was like, oh, well, that's really cool. Let me help her out, like let me see what this film's about. Let me see how I can support it. And I was like, okay, she has some open positions open. At this point in my life, I was like, I'm down to do whatever, and I'm down to just like try new things. So I just applied. I texted her a DM and I was like, hey, I have no experience, but I was just letting you know I'm applying and I might be a little late because I saw the call like a little bit later on. And that's how it started, and the rest is history. So,
So you did an audition for her?
yes, I did a self-tape, sent
Okay.
that in. I believe mine was late. Yeah, mine was late. And then after that, I had another audition on Zoom, and this was in New York City. So that was like a whole nother like moment for me because, things about New York City are kind of like, oh, this is where things happen. You know, New York City, there's like an idea about the New York City air. And so for me to have an audition in New York City on Zoom with the director was kind of surreal. And then she actually confirmed it while I was in New York City as well. So that was a pretty crazy moment and memory for me. But yeah, I only had one callback, I believe. Yeah.
Good. Good. And so what were you doing in New York?
Yeah, I was just hanging out with my cousin. Yeah, I was doing like a photo shoot for fun. Very random stuff, and it was a really fun time in my life.
I remember when they did the casting announcement and saw you on there, and I thought, she looks like a very typical Vietnamese American, Asian teenager. That's really cool. But then when I met you on set, you had told me that you had never done a film before,
Hmm.
so how did that feel? Getting on the set for the first time, not having ever been on a film before.
Yeah, that's I will say the days leading up or even the months leading up to filming when I was confirmed the lead, I was frantically researching how to act 101. Like I did not know anything. I've watched a lot of films and growing up I actually wanted to be a director, not the actor. I love documentaries. I made my own documentary about like Vietnamese immigrants and all that stuff. So for me, going on this other side of the film industry was really interesting. And so I was really nervous because as a lot of Asian girls or any young girl, we can be camera shy. And I was at that point, but I kind of had to put it all away, put all the imposter syndrome away, and just own the role because honestly, I applied for the role specifically because I just felt like it really related to my actual life. And so I felt like I was playing just me, and that made it a lot easier for me to just be myself because the story was just that relatable to me. So in that way, it was a lot easier because I was able to just play myself.
Well, it's
But it
actually
was very nervous. I was very nervous.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember you being a bit nervous, and you
Yeah.
were telling me how you'd never done this before, and it's funny because it kind of worked out because I played your father in this film, and at that moment not even trying, but my fatherly
Yes.
instincts kicked in like, I need to teach this young lady about what it's going to be like being on this set. So I immediately latched onto you in that sense, and I started explaining things to you, telling how things are done and stuff, and wasn't trying to show off or anything. I just felt like, oh, this is my daughter. I'm going to teach her a little bit here. And I thought that was funny. When you first pulled up into we shot in this little bed and breakfast there in Little Rock, and you and your mother and father pulled up, and I was standing in the driveway because I always get to the sets early because I like to know where everything is and understand it. So I was there, and you guys pulled up. There's this older Asian guy with a cowboy hat on. What did you think seeing me for the first time? What was your first impression of me?
Well, I already knew that you were playing my father just because of like the whole casting call and the posts on Instagram. So like I had a feeling about like who you were. I might have done some research about who you were, so I knew a little bit about you. I
Hmm,
had some like pre-assumptions
okay.
and yeah. But when I first saw you, honestly, if I'm being the whole truth, you look like my dad. Like I could really see you being my dad because I'm from Georgia, and so even my own brothers are very country. Like my oldest brother, he listens to country music. He plays the banjo. He wears cowboy boots. Like my family, we come from a very southern like area too. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, it checks out. It really does check out. So
That
I
worked out
wasn't too
great.
shocked. Yeah.
That's awesome. I got along great with your folks. They came from Vietnam after the war was
Yeah,
over. I came from Vietnam when the war was over. So we had a lot of great conversations about that, and
definitely.
so that was really cool. What was your favorite scene in Fuki?
Mm. Ooh, there's so many. Would it be more like favorite scene because of, I guess, the scene itself or filming it? Like,
What was your favorite scene filming? I know there's probably a bunch of great moments in it, but of all of those, with this being your very first experience on film, which one do you think back of first when you think about, I really liked it when we shot this scene, or this moment
hmm.
was great for me?
There's two that come to mind. I will say the first one is the dinner scene. That scene, leading up to that scene, I was very nervous because that scene was very emotional. And I didn't know we were going to be filming that on the first day until a few days before. And so that was nervous in itself. However, I think getting that over on the first day was the right choice because at that time, that first day when we were filming, I will say I had a lot of butterflies in my stomach. I think one funny behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know is that I think you walked in on me in the closet one time just laying on the floor. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that, but I was just like I was so nervous, and I think that was before filming the dinner scene because it was like around lunchtime when we had our lunch break. But I think that was one of my favorite scenes because that really hit home. That hit emotionally home as well as just like where I was in my life at that time. Because only until recently did I start confronting my parents about certain things. And so for me to portray a character to confront her father was like, I hope other people can relate to this. And we can talk about this later, but after my friends have watched the film, they always bring up this scene and
Uh-huh.
how it like wants to tell them their parents to also just talk about like their relationship and their life, like their parents' lives and understanding where our parents come from. So that scene was just emotional in every way, in every good and bad way, like as far as like bad in the sense of who it was hard for me to do, but good in the sense that it really honed down the message and what I hope the audience can take away from the film. I think it was a really like strong scene. Yeah.
I remember the crew, every take, all the looks on their faces, because they were really intense. Like, oh man, this is really wow. And I remember the first few takes, you were a lot more kind of withdrawn with your reaction. The first, you were more soft spoken, but as we went along, you kept building and building. I think at one point we actually went too far, and we
Yeah,
just went back because you know one time you actually really did blow up on me, and I don't
I
think
did.
they didn't use that take,
They didn't.
but I just I love seeing that progression of you throughout that
Mm.
whole thing. And
You. And I will say, I want to say thank you. Like, honestly, bringing back what you said earlier, I feel like between takes, you really were like my stand-in dad. Because I had so many scenes with you, and I feel like whenever we weren't filming, you would give me pieces of advice or pieces of things to just feel comfortable on set. So I really appreciated that, and I that's why I feel like I was able to progress in that scene, especially in such an emotionally charged scene. So I just want to say thank you for being like a
oh,
really good partner.
you're very welcome. I do that on sets because whenever I first started doing this, I didn't have anyone to give
Mm.
me the pointers and stuff. And I'm an introvert, so I naturally kind of pull into a corner and don't let people talk to me anyway. So I have to learn as I go. And so those first few projects I did, it's embarrassing. I can't even go back and look at them now. But so I had this kind of empathy when I see new people
Yeah,
on set. I'm like, okay, I want to help them get past things I had to go through.
thank you.
One
Thank
thing I
you.
find interesting about that scene too is for a lot of people who have seen the film, it wasn't originally written with just you and me. It was
Mm.
actually written with the daughter and her mother and her father. And the
Mm.
original script had the mother being the heavy. She was the one who was pushing hard and giving. And I was basically just the side person who kind of agreed with the mother every once in a while. I think I had like two lines. And that one,
Mm.
like, the first line was like, "You don't raise your voice, your mother." And then another one said, "Ang." That's basically it. That's all I
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
But according to Bailey, the director, she was saying how when they were doing the casting call, they were having a difficult time finding an older Vietnamese woman who could act. And
Mm.
I think she did say that they had a couple people, but they just weren't very good. And she just felt like in that scene, if you're not a good actor, it's going to throw off the whole scene. So when later on she contacted me and said, "Hey, we're writing out the mother. She's going to be she died of cancer, and we're gonna give you all her lines, and now you're a widowed father." Like, holy crap! Because I had to adjust how I was gonna approach the character at that point. Because up and then I'm gonna be the clueless dumb dad, but then I had to
Mm.
change it. So a lot of that was on the fly with you, and you made it really easy because I'm gonna brag on you now. You are such a natural when it came to the acting. But when you got on there and you started doing those scenes, that dinner scene, that first scene, I didn't really have to coach you in anything. It's like, she's got this, maybe we'll dial it up a little more, but she's got this. And you can see it in your eyes, you can see it in the way you're moved and everything. And all of my reactions were more genuine because you did such a good job.
Oh,
So yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. I know I've
Yeah,
told you that before, but I just think that you did a great job considering this was your first time ever doing a film.
thank you. Yeah, I honestly think just both of us during that scene, it was very much back and forth because I don't know about you, but for me, that scene was very much, I've been through this before. And I know you have your own kids, so I'm sure you've been through something a little bit similar. So
Well, what's
yeah.
funny is I'm actually the opposite of
Yeah,
Mr.
you are.
Lee because I'm so laid back. So
You are.
nowadays, my kids come up to me and they want to do something, even if it's outrageous. I'll go, yeah, go ahead. Is anyone
Yeah.
basically my question is anyone going to die if you do this? If the answer is no, yeah, go ahead and do it then. So,
Mhm, mhm.
but so I actually had to pull out a section of me to play that strict
Yeah.
father, and
Yeah.
so that was new for me. Are there any other scenes that you like that you want to talk about?
Okay, this one's a little bit way more lighthearted actually.
Okay.
I don't know if you're filming with us during this day. It was during like the school scenes. I don't think
Okay,
you
I
were there.
wasn't there, so this would be
Yeah.
new for me.
But gosh, it was such a fun day. Like I feel like this was the day I really just all the anxiety, all the nervousness out the window because the scenes we were filming were just so funny. Me and Alexandria, we had the best time filming the locker scene because we had to reshoot it so many times and there's this one line where she's like, "Wait, Lynn, don't go," or something like that. And we just had to redo that so many times that every time she said that line, we would just crack up like right after Bailey said like cut and stuff. So that was one of like it was a really good day of filming because I truly felt like I was comfortable with the set, with the crew. And one thing I'd like to bring up is that was the first time I've had extras, that many extras like waiting for me to say my lines. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know any of these people. Like I knew the set, I knew the crew, right? I was able to research everyone on the crew, but I didn't know the extras. And so that lunch scene, it's actually the first scene of the film. Or well, I guess the second scene. But having
Yeah.
all those extras, yeah, the second scene, having all those extras to be there, and if I messed up a line, we'd have to retake, and so that was just a really fun day and a fun experience. And I think the first day of filming helped me become more comfortable that second day. So I had a
Well,
lot of fun.
that's another
Yeah.
example of how much of a natural you are, because a lot of people who are in the acting community, we don't go into lead role right away. A lot of us, to get the experience, we do background work, we play extras,
Mm.
and wait for as many films as we can so we can get our foot in the door and we can get familiar with it. So, you telling me that you were dealing with this, well, they're all waiting for me, they're waiting for me. A lot of people don't get to do that right away, and they would probably
Yeah.
freeze up and not be able to do it. And you did it. So, I mean, good job. I love that locker scene. One of the reasons I love about it is, and I don't think this is intentional, but to me, because I've watched a lot of horror movies in my time,
Mm.
and that moment when you're there at your locker the first time, and then it cuts away for a bit, and then it cuts back, and then you close the locker,
Yeah.
and Alexander is right there all
Yeah.
of a sudden. Then that could be a horror movie scene, like the killer's right there because she wasn't there before. It was so obvious she wasn't there before. The moment you close that, she's like, "Hey!" I'm like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
And you guys were
No.
great. Chemistry between the two of you. I mean,
Yeah.
you could believe that you two were best friends, and I thought that was really good too.
Yeah.
Alexandra, I don't know if she's ever gonna watch this, but we miss you. You did a great job.
Yes.
You know,
I actually like still talk to her too. So like we did have a really good chemistry on set and I really think that helped just have that organic friendship. Yeah.
oh, it was so
Um,
believable. I mean, and when you watch it, it just seems like you guys have known each other forever, and you guys just met. So.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up one of my favorite memories on the
Mm,
set, and it was me trying to put that danged necklace around your neck.
this one
Um,
right here.
yeah, there you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
yeah.
So, for those of you who don't know, there's a scene near the end of the film where I give Lynn this necklace, and then she says, "Can you put it on me?" And she turns around, and I put it on, and in the film, it's just I put it on. Yeah, it's beautiful. That took so many takes because I'm farsighted, so I can't see up close. So without my glasses, when we were filming the scene, because Mr. Lee didn't wear glasses, I could not see the clasp. I could not see where the hole was. So you would turn around, and then I'd be sitting there. And you guys would be so patient. You, the crew, everyone's just so patient. And I can't, every time it was like, it was too long. It's too long. I gotta keep doing it. And I actually, you sent me one of the takes, and it
Yeah.
cracks me up watching it because it just,
Yes.
I'll probably edit it in here so everyone else can see it. Okay, this is. But when we
Yes.
finally got that, I was like, oh, thank God. Because I was feeling like I was never going to get it for you.
No, I love that scene. And my mom, she always brings that up too, because according to my mom, she was the one who thought of the paperclip idea. Because, yeah, she had a paperclip in her purse or something. And so my mom was like, my actual mom, she was like, why don't we put a paperclip on it so it's easier for you to class? And I was like, but it's going to show in the film. And then, movie magic, Bailey cuts
Edit,
it out. And
edit.
I'm like, oh, wow, that was really smart. So that scene also cracks me up because it just, it took forever. It really did. And
And
so, yeah, it
you
was so
guys are
funny.
so good about it. I felt so embarrassed. I was like, man, I'm holding everybody up. I'm holding everyone because that was near the end too, and
Yeah,
we just
it
been
was the
shooting
last
all
scene.
weekend. And I was thinking we're gonna wrap here, but we can't wrap because of me. So yeah, yeah, I
No,
love
I
that.
think, yeah, don't be embarrassed. Like, I honestly think it was one of like a really good memory. Like, it just cracks me up. And that we have such good BTS of it. So it's
Yes,
a
yes.
good one.
I'll
Yeah.
edit that in so everyone can see because I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
this
you
little
should.
bit. So you got to watch this with your friends. You set up a little
Mm,
premiere thing, and they all
I
showed up and
did.
watched it with you. Tell me about how that went with you, when how they reacted, how you felt with watching it for the first time.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That was honestly one of the most special nights of my life. I have been a person who's always like, oh, you don't need to celebrate my birthday. Like, I'm not like that now. But growing up until I was about 19 or 20, I was very much shy about hosting parties or like having friends come over. And so for me to like host a premiere where I'm like in a film, and most of my friends know that I'm not an actor, and like they don't even know I'm interested in this kind of stuff. And so for me to send out that invite to my friends was very nerve-wracking. It was very much like, oh, I need to plan every small detail of this party. And I did plan a lot. Yes. Yeah, I even made like a little ticket of like, oh, admission for the film and stuff. Um,
Right.
but it was such a fun thing to plan. Like it really was. And I honestly think what made the night so special was the conversation we had after. And so I wanted to build this in, hopefully organically, but knowing my friends, they also want to talk about it too. They're not just we're here for the food and for the film. They really wanted to discuss it. And it was such a beautiful conversation about culture and where we all come from. Tears were shed, and I was not expecting that. I was like, oh my gosh, like my friends are the sweetest people ever. And just so many perspectives were shared that night. And I was so touched at how much the film touched my friends and how it touches other people. So, yeah.
Oh, I wish I could have been there for that. That would have been awesome. Yeah, I watched it all by myself in my office, and hey, what do you think? Oh, no one's there. Never mind.
Oh no. Well, I think for me, since it was my first film, also, I just like felt it was extra like, ooh, I need to make sure that, I'm taking it very special to my heart because it was, and I wanted to share that with my friends. So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad you did. I think that I think it's great when you're able to do it with other people. And you get tons of people together to watch it, and I get so uncomfortable in groups, so I don't organize them myself. But if somebody else organized it and I showed up, then that's fine.
Mhm.
But you
No,
also
that's
could see
great.
it in LA.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that was a year later.
yeah. And what was
That was a
what was that film festival?
Momi 2
Okay.
College Fest. Yeah. That was another surreal moment. Oh my goodness. That was crazy. That was a year after the film released, and Bailey was submitting it to film festivals, and then Bailey was like, "Hey, there's a chance we could go to Hollywood and go to a film festival." I'm like, okay, I'm living Miley Cyrus, like the two different lives. And for a moment, I got to live my, like, I guess you could call it a fantasy, you know? I call it being a doctor by day and an actress by night. Kind of like how Hannah Montana, you know, the whole
Hmm.
spiel about that. So just for a few days, I got to live that. And even though I know that, you know, it it wasn't that big of a film fest, to me, it felt big. And I definitely think I learned so much about myself and self-confidence. So that was a really special moment. And sharing that with Bailey was such,
Oh,
like, on top of filming, it was such another important memory and core experience I had with, like, Bailey in general. So that was great, and I will never forget it.
oh.
Yeah.
And what was the award that the film won?
Yeah, we got Audience Choice Award.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. And it was the first award that was called out. And so we were shocked. Like Bailey was like, I have a video. She's like, oh my gosh. And then yes, it was crazy. I was like, I did not expect that. So
Yeah, I
and
remember you
it,
sending
but
me
yeah.
photos from it. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy you got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like just being, because that was my first time in California. And for that to be my first time in California was like, what dream am I living? Like what?
Did
Yeah.
you get
So
all dressed up? Did you wear the gowns and everything? Did you look
yeah,
all?
we wore the
Oh,
traditional ao dais, so we got to
yeah.
represent. People knew exactly what film we were there for.
Nice.
So that was nice. And the whole red carpet experience, very much like, you know, a bucket list moment. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I remember you texted me and sent me some photos, and I think that my favorite photo that night you sent me was you made sure to capture my favorite Lynn awkward moment from the film, and I've told you so
Mhm.
many times, but that scene where you're in the Vietnamese store and the
Yes.
guy says "Konnichiwa" to you, and I bring it up so many times, is I do know why, but the thing is, every time that scene comes up and your reaction, I laugh out loud. I literally laugh out loud. I can't stop myself from laughing out loud. And the reason is, and for those of you who know, I am a comedian. I do stand-up comedy. And for me, comedy is a science, and not
Mhm.
everyone can do it well. And for you, I don't know if you were thinking about it when you made that decision, but you could have easily just, he could have gone konnichiwa and you could have gone what? Like
Mhm.
that. But you didn't. You waited. You kind of
Yes.
let that awkward statement from him marinate a little, and you could see in your head that you were thinking about it. Go, what the hell did he just say? And then you go, what?
Yeah.
And that little moment, that is comedic genius.
Mhm.
I don't know if you decided to do it on purpose, but
No.
the thinking, and then putting it out, that made it funnier. And I just
Mhm.
think a lot of people don't realize how much goes into a comedic performance. Is like, again,
Mhm.
any other actor might have just immediately gone, what? Right away, and that would have
Mhm.
been it. But you gave us time to soak it in. I think that's why I love that moment so much. But you sent me a picture of you there, and you screenshot that one scene because you knew I liked that scene. So you said to me,
Mhm.
"Oh, she remembered." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wait, okay, that's really funny because honestly, when I was filming that scene, I thought it was a serious scene, you know, because there's been so many times, like, and this is where the representation matters because it is so true. Like, I was just in Savannah, Georgia the other day, and some guy was like, Ni hao. And I just ignored him, you know? And, you know, to me, I was like, okay, this scene is very much, you always think of it when we talk about Asian, like, representation. Like, we're always generalized that we're just Chinese or Japanese. And so when I saw this scene, I was like, oh, this is a serious scene. Like, this is a scene where people can relate. However, when I watched it with my friends, my family at the film fest, everyone laughed at that scene. And I'm like, you know, I didn't mean for that to happen, but I think it's a funny thing, you know? I think it's like we can laugh about it. It's not exactly funny, but we can laugh about it because it's such a shared experience.
The fact
Yeah.
that it's a shared experience is what makes
Mhm.
it funny. It is
Yeah.
one of the things
Yeah.
where you go, okay, yes, it's not good to do that, but we all know what that is, and it makes us
Yeah.
laugh. Like, ah, ha, ha, there's that moment.
Yeah. And hey, I also will say that actor, he's funny. Like he was actually like his face was pretty funny and like the way he acted out that scene.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
gotta give him that credit too. I didn't really get to speak to him that much during the filming, but I hope he's doing well. He's
Yeah,
probably the one
he came in
that I don't.
later. They had someone else originally cast in that
They
position, and
did. Yeah,
yeah,
he
and then
did
he came
make
in
it.
later, and I thought he did great. He did
He
great.
did.
Just the way his delivery was so. I met
Yeah.
that guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the way he was standing, like I was just feel like it was perfect. Like the representation of like that kind of guy, like it really was like spot on. Um,
Konnichiwa.
What?
It reminds me how much work they put into that film. Because even prior to that, they had that very opening shot of that scene where we're walking down the
yeah.
aisle and the camera's on the opposite side, tracking us between the shelves. And I don't remember how many times they had to do it before we finally got it right. Because the first time I was walking too fast, next time I walked too slow and stuff. And but for people who don't know, when you do a shot like that, you have the actors on the other end and you have the film crew on this end. They have tracks down that the camera is on, and they push it along. And so for that scene, you're watching us walking along between the shelves. That camera had to keep up with us, or we had to walk at a pace that they could, stay there. And it looks, I love that shot. I think it's a great shot. And but you don't know how much goes into it if you don't, unless you're in film. So.
No, that is actually one of my favorite like cinematic shots of the film because
Hmm.
I feel like it gives very much like everything everywhere all at once. Like I don't know if you've watched it,
Hmm.
but it's very much like a continuous shot and it shows so much like small details. So for example, like my parents are in that scene and Bailey's parents and her sister and brother are also in that scene. And so just to orchestrate that many people and just in such few seconds was really cool for me to experience and to like act it out with you and like the whole timing of things, like you're saying, the small details that no one really notices. That scene was just the way it was orchestrated was so cool. And it really is one of my favorite like cinematic scenes of the film because I think it's a very pretty scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And a lot of people don't know it watching it, but that store was closed at the time we were filming. They were getting ready to close. They were closing out, and there weren't customers saying those are all background extras. And the way they positioned them to make it look like it's full, and then they added the sound effects to make it sound like there's more people there. And it's movie magic. So much you can learn
Mhm.
from watching.
Yes.
But then there's also other ways of doing things that doesn't require as much work per se as in equipment and stuff, but like I always bring this up as your not your very first scene, but one of the early scenes is you sitting in lunch, dreaming about
Yes.
Asher, and they it's Valentine's week at the school, so they have all these
Yeah.
Valentine's decorations around. The way the hearts are taped onto the windows behind you makes it look like they're coming out of you. And I'm sure that's
Mhm.
the intention of the setup, but you don't think about it that this those are just decorations, but it's telling more of a story right there in that one
Mhm.
shot. I love the fact that such a simple trick, and it worked really well.
Yes. Yeah. And kind of similar to the lockers, like the hearts were all over the lockers. And then even inside my locker, I had like
Mhm.
fake pictures of me and like my family. And just the attention to detail that the crew did was just amazing.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was just so taken aback about like, they even cropped my face on like
On the
pictures
other,
with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I just think it helped integrate like, oh, I'm Lynn today and I'm like playing her. So it was
Well,
really fun.
even a small detail that I'm sure no one notices, but Vietnamese people notice is in the kitchen scene where I'm cooking the caca and you come in to tell me that grandma's on the phone. In the background, there's a Walmart bag hanging from the shelf with tons of Walmart bags
Yeah.
inside them. And because the Vietnamese people, we save our Walmart bags. We save. We have tons of them. I actually have a closet full of them. And
Yes.
remember when we were setting up for that scene, someone had put it up there, but then when we were getting ready to shoot it, somebody came up and removed it thinking it
Oh,
was
really?
trash. Yeah,
No
actually,
way.
one of the crew members came and go, "Oh, gotta get this out here." And they grabbed it, and then I think Bailey had to stop them and say, "No, no, 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 that's part of the set
Oh my
design. Put
gosh.
that back." They didn't realize that was part of the design and stuff. So I thought,
Wow. I
yeah,
did not know that. I really didn't know that detail. That's so funny.
yeah.
It's very essential to like any Asian household. You
Well,
have to have bags and bags.
we talked about this the other day. The very fact that after our fight, the way my character tries to make up for it is
Mm.
giving you a bowl of fruit. For
Yeah.
some people, they just want to, okay, he's a sweet father just trying to, but they don't understand that the Vietnamese tradition, giving food, giving fruit,
Hmm.
is our way of showing love. If the
Hmm.
parents or having issues with their children, but they feel bad about it later. They don't go up and say, "I'm so sorry we had that
Yeah.
argument." They just give you fruit instead. And that's
Yes,
that's
yes.
the thing is that there's so many things like that throughout that movie that I really think is great that
Mm,
Americans may miss if they're not familiar with your Vietnamese culture.
I agree. Yeah.
So,
Mm.
is there anything else that you would like to bring up today while that you have this
Ooh.
captured audience here?
Okay, I do have a list of questions, so let me just choose
All right.
one. Okay, I guess since we're talking about the representation in this film, what other kinds of Asian American stories do you hope to be told next?
Oh, let's see. You mean me myself or just out there in general?
Out there in general, or if you could have all the things in the world, all the resources to make your own film about the Asian American experience, what would you hope the story to be?
Okay. So one thing that I've always wanted to see more of is now I have a lot invested in the Vietnam War movies just because I was there as a child and everything. But all the Vietnam War movies are usually from the American side of it.
Mm,
It's the Americans and how and they have Vietnamese characters, but you don't really hear about the Vietnamese side of it. And
mm.
that's the one thing I was really looking forward to when HBO did that series called oh, what was it? Oh, I can't remember the
Oh, The
title.
Sympathizer?
Yes, that one there.
Yes.
At
Yeah,
first,
great
I was
show.
really into it because it was focusing on the Vietnamese
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
Then it kind of fell apart at the end. The storytelling
Mm,
didn't work as well at the end.
mm,
But that first part, especially the scene when they were trying to rush and get onto that plane, right when
mm,
at the very beginning and they were getting attacked, and the bombs are coming down, they're trying to get on a plane and get out there.
mm.
That was a very intense scene for me. And I
Yeah.
love seeing that. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
these weren't just people trying to get on a plane nice and quiet. They were still in a war, and I feel like there could be more movies like that out there. I do think also the casting, and this is a side note, a casting of Robert Downey Jr. may have been a kind of a miscast in my opinion. And the reason I
Mm,
say that him in one role, okay, him in two roles, but then they tried to make him three or four different characters in the thing. I feel a lot like that. That's Robert Downey Jr. That's Robert Downey Jr. And it
mm.
took me out of it a little bit too. So,
Yeah.
but that's a good example of what I'd like to see more of, but done
Mm.
better and fuller is
Mm.
or showing what the Vietnamese people went through during that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't know if you've read the book, but the book is great too.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've never read it, but I've
Mm.
heard it is, and it's the one thing I might have to go back to kind of make up for the way I felt about the end of the series.
Mm. I
But
see.
what about you? I mean, what would you like to see more of?
Um, I think for me, so my mom has been a nail tech for most of her life, and it's very much like a stereotype that Vietnamese women are nail techs. And
Hmm.
to an extent, it's very much true. It makes good money, and it's not too hard to do. But my mom, she comes home with so many stories at the end of the day. My mom's at work right now at the nail salon. And I just think it would be such a fun story to tell about nail techs and their relationships with their clients.
That is an
Yeah.
awesome idea. That is, and I'll just say here, just adding to the stereotype, my aunt and she owns two different nail shops, and lots of family members worked in it. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
all through our culture.
Yeah.
But that would actually be a great way to kind of showcase different stories through
Yeah.
them telling the
Yes.
stories too. And I
Exactly.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
And kind of how like are the older generation, how are they integrated into the American society now? Because
Mhm.
my mom has seen the progression of how people treat Asians since she first got here because she's been a servant to, doing nails. And so she has had so many interactions with different people from all walks of life. And it's just very interesting. And she tells me that, there has been a difference in the way people treat her in this age of day, And so I just think it would be like not only a really wholesome story, but I think it would just be hilarious because it's okay. I don't know if you've ever been to the nail salon, but girls, we love to talk. We
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about we talk things, and I just think it would be hilarious. And yeah, I hope to see maybe a story be told like that one day. Yeah.
Well, maybe somebody needs to look into going to a screenwriting school or some kind of course and write it herself. I'm sure your mom could give you plenty of stuff to write about.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, when I was younger, I was really into documentaries. I mentioned this at the very beginning.
Yeah.
But for high school, I had a project where we could make any project. It could be about anything. And so I chose to make a documentary about my parents' story and how they were boat people. How did they come to America and like the whole pirate situation? Yeah, because a lot of people don't know about the boat people,
And how old were you when you made this?
Oh, not 18. Yeah, I was
18?
in high school senior year.
And where would someone see this?
Oh, it's private. I never put it out.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
But no, it's I didn't really like finish it. You know, I have
Okay,
snippets, but it's not complete. But
okay.
I did write like a whole like script and I have filmed some parts of it and my
Okay.
parents talking about it. So it's more of like a family loom, I guess. Yeah,
I
hopefully,
get it.
yeah. So hopefully one day I can like actually put it on a CD and that could be like passed down or something. But yeah, I think that's another great story to tell is like just the upbringing of boat people.
Mhm.
I know, I think what were
We were
you
both
both?
people. We
Yeah,
were,
and you went to Korea,
yeah,
right?
we went to Korea first, and then
Hmm.
after the realization that my father was already married and he was only going to support us financially, my mother
Yeah,
cut ties with him, and that's why we ended up going to America because we
yeah.
had no more connection to Korea. So yeah, we were both
Mm.
people. My mother tells stories about it. There's a really awkward story. I'll tell you the one awkward story she always tells people, and she always does it when I'm around her, is when we were on the boat, and I'm only like 9 months old at the time, so
Hmm.
and there wasn't enough water and milk,
Mm.
whatever, on the boat, and people were dehydrated. So
Yeah.
she was breastfeeding me a lot and making sure that her
Oh.
youngest baby was
Yeah.
nutrition and stuff. And she didn't. That's why she's so close to me because that whole
Mm.
time
Yeah.
you were my baby, and I make sure
Yeah.
you eat your food. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Mom, quit telling people this at parties. I don't want.
Oh,
Because that's what we're getting these groups with all these people. Oh, here's my
really?
baby. I give him milk the whole time
Oh
I'm
my
below the water.
goodness.
Stop. But
That's a story.
yeah,
That's
but yeah,
really
both
funny.
people. You go.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you just showed, there's so many untold stories. Like, there are some pretty crazy things that happened with the pirates that my mom
Oh,
encountered. Like, really, like, traumatic things. And I'm like, no one knows this about Vietnamese people. There are a lot of us who come from places that my parents probably need some therapy, or a lot of people in this community should have therapy.
oh
And we're
yeah.
just going about our days as if we just moved on and now we're just in America.
And
And so, yeah.
that's the Vietnamese way. It's like
Unfortunately,
we
yeah.
we get all this trauma and then we push it away and we keep going.
Yeah.
And we could use more therapy in our community.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree. And I'm trying to change that in my generation, stopping
Good, good.
intergenerational trauma. I think it's really important to talk about mental health and to seek the help you need. Hopefully to break those generational trauma. Yeah.
One way of helping is making these movies and telling these
That's
stories.
true.
We got to figure out how to
Yeah.
do that. We got to figure out how to
And
do
for
that.
me, it was healing in itself. So I hope it not only helps other people, but it 100% helped me go through my own. Yeah. So,
I Anyone out there, my filmmaker friends, you guys want to pick up these ideas? Just reach out to me. We'll talk about how to get this done. All right.
that would be fun. Hey, Bailey would be the perfect one to do it. That would be really fun. We
I would
always joke
love
about it.
I would love to do
Yeah,
something again with Bailey. I
I
think
would
it'd be
love to.
great. If she ever wants to do anything else and she needs someone like me,
Yeah,
there's no hesitation. Just reach out to me. I'm there. I don't care what it is. Even though I'm
yeah.
playing a dog in the corner of the room, I don't care. I'll do it. But
Same. If I'm holding like the sound control, fine with me.
there you
Please.
go. There you
I just
go.
want to help her out, like really. Yeah,
Oh,
I
I mean,
want to see her dreams come to fruitful, I want them to come to life.
and I
Um,
know she's happy with what she's doing right now, and but
mhm.
I'd love to see her doing more original film work of her own. I think that.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've been talking to each other about it, and she's getting there. So
Okay.
just
Yeah,
hang
it
tight.
takes
She will
time.
get
It
there.
takes time. I
Yes,
get it. I
yes.
get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But with that, as we are running out of time here, is there anything else you want to bring up that you had on your notes there?
Um, hmm. Okay, this is kind of a silly one. I guess we
All
can end
right.
on a lighter note. Okay, is there anything like a prop on set that you wish you could have taken?
Oh, goodness. Look back at that set. It's not something I could have done anything with because it'd be gone by now. But I love Vietnamese food,
No.
and we were at the the party, the New Year's party afterwards.
Yeah.
All that food, I just wanted to eat it all, but I knew it was there for the scene and
Yeah.
everything. But man, I would love it. And then that ao dai I wore was pretty cool. It was
Mm.
really form fitting, but I had a few friends make the joke, "Oh, hot Asian dad," like, "Oh, that's good. There you go."
Wait, whose Ai was that? Ai was that?
I think it was one of Bailey's relatives. They
Okay.
had it, and it was just a
Yeah.
tad bit too tight for me, but we
Yeah.
went with it. That's all we
It
had. So,
worked.
yeah, yeah.
That is so
You?
silly. I'm kind of the same way. I love the clothes that Bailey had me wear. Like just the whole design of like what Lynn was wearing. I was like, I would wear this and I wish I had like that cardigan. I miss it. I think it was the first day, that first day outfit, like during the
Hmm.
dinner scene. I love that outfit. So, but I'm very lucky that Bailey actually gave me like the replica
Yes.
of the same necklace. And this is like, the what is it called? The poster of the film. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I think I'm not trying to brag, but I think I got the best prop.
You did. That's good, and that
Yeah.
actually had a lot of memories for me too. Trying to put the
Mm,
dang thing on you, but
yeah. I mean, it's not the original. It
no, it's
is
not
like
the
a
original, but
replica, but
the
still.
it looks that I when I see it, I know exactly which one it is.
Yeah,
So.
it's the same exact one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we could talk for so many hours
Oh, yeah,
about it.
we could, and unfortunately, I'm trying to keep these things short because people won't watch
Yes.
after it's so long.
Hmm.
I'll probably cut myself out of all of this to get people to watch this one. But what I like to do to wrap up, the way I wrap these up is the whole concept behind this podcast is that I have a hard time talking to people, and I'm forcing myself to talk to people. And I'm starting out by talking to people I know because it's
Mm.
easier for me the way. Because if it weren't people I know, this would be the most awkward thing ever. But
Mm.
because of the concept of awkwardness, I'd like to wrap this up by doing a scenario where what
Hmm.
this thing could have been like had I done this in person with somebody,
Mm.
if I ran into him in person. And so people could see how incredibly awkward I really am. And it's going to
Hmm.
be acting on the play in here, but I really am this way in real life. When people run into me, I dodge. I will duck behind them. See somebody I know. I'll go, I'll hide
Yeah,
behind them.
yeah,
I'll literally kneel down behind something
yeah,
just
yeah.
to avoid talking to them. But
Mm.
so I want to wrap up there. But everyone, Lily and Lou, incredible, incredible. You are just a wonderfully talented person. I'm looking forward to some things that you're going to be doing in the future. We had a
Thank you.
conversation prior to this, and I'm not going to say anything about it, but I think you have some good stuff coming ahead. I'm anxious to see where you go. But with
Thank
that, do you
you.
want to say anything to the audience before we go into our closing piece?
Um, I guess I have a piece of advice.
Okay.
I just want to say that if there's something you want to do that's outside of your comfort zone, please do it. The only way that we can improve ourselves and to really push ourselves is to step outside of our comfort zone. Whether that's saying yes to an experience you've tried before and you thought you didn't like it, try it again. Just try it again and just go outside of your comfort zone. And my motto is just to seek discomfort. Because I truly think that when we step outside of this box of ours, we really open up doors for ourselves and perspectives that we would have never ever considered. So I just think if you don't think that you're fit for something, think again and you will be shocked. So, yeah.
That is perfect, especially for this podcast. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. This is out of my comfort
Yeah,
zone. And
exactly.
there you go. There's our theme for this thing here. So everyone, thank you. We're going to go into our closing piece here. So the scene is I'm running into Lillian here in public. We haven't seen each other in a long time, and I'm in a weird place. And she's gonna just, and we're just gonna talk. So with that, I'm gonna say goodnight, and I'm gonna do the scene here. So here we go. Cut. Take. Oh hey,
Oh, hey,
Lillian, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been so long. I just came back from studying abroad.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
How did that? How did it go?
It was good. I got to go to like 13 countries. It was so fun. I went to Italy at first. And oh my gosh, on the first day I got to Italy, I lost my phone. Someone stole my phone. And they always tell you, always have like a fanny pack. But I did. I had a fanny pack, but I still got my phone stolen. And I just think it was so funny that it happened to me. Uh, okay. Yeah, I just think it was really funny that it happened to me because it was the first day I got to Europe and all my family was telling me to be careful with my phone. And yeah, so I had to go get a new phone. I don't know where Vu went, but end of story, basically. I think it was a funny thing because I feel like all my bad luck before I started my study abroad experience kind of just left. And hey, at the end of it, I will say that was probably one of the worst things that happened. So I'm grateful. I think Vu just slipped down his seat, but I think it's okay. Um, yeah. Vu, are you okay? All right. I think he's fine. He might have just got like a drink or something. I don't know. But all right. Thanks for having me. And I hope whoever's watching this has a blessed day. Have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Is she gone? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off.